Assalamu alaikum. Today I want to talk to you about something that took me maybe way too long to notice in myself. The difference between being with my kids and actually being there. Okay? This sounds like the same thing, but they're not the same thing. And once you see the difference, you cannot unsee it. Okay? In your parenting, your marriage, and every part of your life where your body shows up, but your mind doesn't. So, this is part one of a series I'm calling The Disciplined Mother. Okay, not disciplined like rigid or perfect or anything like you feel guilty about. It's disciplined like choosing to be disciplined, okay, on purpose. And today's episode is about presence. And I promise by the end, you'll have three simple, doable things you can start tonight, inshallah. All right? So you say that when I ask moms on a one on one call how long they spend with their kids, they say, I was with them all day. My question when I ask them is, were you actually there? Mhm. And that is where the gap we see. Okay, and we begin with there. We're there physically, but emotionally, we were checked out. So, have you ever put your kids to bed and then laid there trying to remember your own day and just really can't remember what you did all day? You know you did things, okay? You ticked off those the to-do list. You made the lunches, you did the emails, you refereed over a fight over a toy. You said in a minute, probably 40 times. But if someone asks you to describe one real moment, one real conversation, one thing you did with your kid that surprised you, that you feel connected with, you're trying to remember when that moment was. So that's the gap I want to be talking about today. We weren't really there. We're there physically, but weren't there emotionally, mentally. And here's the uncomfortable part. Our kids feel that gap. Even when they can't name it, they can still feel it. And kids are unbelievably good at reading whether the person in front of them is actually in the room, okay, or in front of them. If you're mentally somewhere else, they can feel that energy. And they don't need your full attention all day long, but they need to know that when you give it, it's real, right? So that gap between physical presence and actual presence is where this whole conversation is going to begin. A little bit of philosophy here and why this is hard now, okay? Presence isn't natural anymore, it's a discipline. So before I get into the how, I want you to sit in the why for a second because I think it matters. And it's really core for our parenting and building that real connection with our kids. Presence used to be the default state of the human being, right? You didn't have 15 tabs open in your brain. You had the field in front of you, and back in the day, the fire, the person you were talking to, and that was it. There was no other distractions. Now, our attention is the most valuable thing we own. And there are entire industries built to fracture it, pulling us in different directions from our phones, our notifications, a worry about tomorrow, a replay of something that happened this morning. So when I say presence is a discipline, and I mean it literally, so it is no longer the natural state you fall into. It's something you have to choose on purpose. And over again, you have to bring yourself in that present moment, probably like 100 times a day. So either we're living in the past or we're living in the future. So we want to start living in the present moment. So that's just the world we're raising kids in today. Okay. And that's how fast the world's, in such a fast pace that we feel like we have to be continue up to date with it. So, which means the mothers who are present aren't the ones who don't struggle with the distraction. They're the ones who build a practice around coming back to it again and again. Okay, becoming back to being present again and again. So that's the same framework that we're going to be talking about today. Three pillars, not three unrelated tips, three parts of one discipline. Be fully present, empty the mind of distractions, and sit quietly and reflect. So let's go one at a time. And for each one, I'll give you like the philosophy and the actual hands on technique. That's something you can start doing tonight. So I love this book and really recommend you guys trying it out. It's called The Whole Brain Child by Daniel J. Siegel and Tina Payne Bryson. Um, it is amazing. So a few of the teachings and the few of the strategies are definitely from here, and has really changed how I learned how to do parenting and how I show up for my kids. So the first pillar is to be fully present. Okay? And here's the reframe I need you to take from this is presence isn't about how many hours you are with your kids. It's about how many minutes you're actually with them versus just near them. Okay? You can spend 3 hours in the same room as your kid and be like, okay, I was with them all day. You're cooking, you're half watching them play, glancing at your phone, and give them maybe 4 or 5 minutes of real time together. Or you can spend 12 minutes fully in it and give them 12 real minutes of your energy, your concentration, your presence. Kids don't bank hours, right? They bank moments. And it is so much more sustainable to aim for a handful of fully present moments than, like an entire afternoon of half attention and end up like resentful and depleted and frustrated and angry because you spend the whole day with them, but you haven't got any work done because your mind is elsewhere, right? So when I was mentioned that they feel that energy if we're with them or not, here's actually how to do this. Okay, this is what they teach in the book. Three techniques. Technique one, the phone basket. Okay, pick a um a spot in your home, a bowl by the door, a drawer in the kitchen, whatever. When you're about to enter a present moment window, maybe it's time to feed the kids, it's snack time, or it's bath time, 10 minutes after school. That phone of yours goes in the basket or goes in the drawer. Okay, not face down on the counter, not anywhere near you, because it still pulls you in that direction. You'll be able to hear the notifications. So you want to put the phone out of the room or at least out of reach. This is the single highest leverage move in this whole video, right? Kids feel it when you've checked out, even in silence. So even if the phone never buzzes, because part of you is still braced for it, you're still in that attention mode to the phone. Okay? Technique two is the one job rule. Okay, before you walk into that moment, setting that intention. Say to yourself out loud if you need to, my one job right now is to look at them, listen to them, respond to what they're actually saying. Not what you assume they're saying, not the version you're only half hearing while you're thinking about making dinner, what they're actually saying. This one sentence turns a vague intention into an actual instruction your brain can follow. Okay, I have to practice this every day while I'm working. My kids are home right now. It's summer, right? So they come up to me, they want to show me something. Um, so I have to check out, give them my few minutes of attention. Okay? It's about practice. It takes effort, right? Technique three is get physically low. Get down to their level. Crouch, sit on the floor, get your eyes level with theirs. That's really, really main and really, really helpful. This isn't just a nice gesture, it's a signal to your own nervous system that this is not just a hallway interaction, okay? It's not just for a few seconds. This is the main event, okay? Your body changes your mind faster than your mind changes your mind, okay? Your body changes your mind faster than your mind changes your mind, okay? That's why you want to get down to their level. So next time your kid wants to tell you something, just physically like get down to their level. They're sitting on their bed. You sit down with next to them, okay? Before you even answer, connect with them. Small moments where you're fully there, that's pillar one, okay? Now, two. Step two is empty the mind of distractions, right? I know this may be the toughest part, just to focus for a few minutes on the task on hand, okay? So you can't pour from a cup that's already full. The philosophy here is simple, but it took me a long time to actually believe it too. And, you can't pour from an empty cup that's already full, right? So we're carrying so much into every interaction. The to-do list, the thing that annoyed us at work or at masjid or a text or in traffic or with your friends, the scroll that left 10 strangers' opinions rattling around in your head before we even sat down on the floor to play blocks. None of that is visible, okay? Nobody can see it, but it's taking up real estate in the one instrument you need to clear out and actually connect. That is your attention because your mind's got all these tabs open. You start shutting it down and focusing on what's in front of you and who is in front of you. You can be standing right there, phone away. You can be on their level, doing everything the technique wise right, and still be somewhere else entirely because your mind is full. Okay? I know it's easy for me to say, but to bring that attention and that focus to the conversation, to the moment, is crucial. Okay? So notice what's taking up space in your head. Set it aside just for this hour or this 20 minutes, not forever. Okay? And here's exactly how you can do it. These are the three techniques. Okay? Technique one is 2-minute brain dump. Okay, before a present moment window, grab a note card or notes or a diary and just dump all the things the to-do list onto the paper. Okay? Everything that's rattling around in your brain. The email you need to send, the argument you're replaying, the grocery list, whatever that is that you've got to do. So you're not solving anything at the moment. Okay? You're just getting it out of your head and onto paper so your brain stops holding the door for it. Okay? When there's so much anxiety and so much stress up here and overwhelm, you cannot be fully present. Okay, this will take like about 90 seconds. Okay, just dump everything out onto the paper, write it out, all the things I need to be doing. Okay, and this changes everything. Now, say the release line out loud. This is like technique two. That can wait. I'm here now. Okay, all these things can wait, but my child, I need to be here for her or him right now. Actually say it, okay? Don't just think it. There's something about your own voice that makes it real for your nervous system in a way a silent thought never can do, okay? Think of it like closing a bunch of browser tabs before you open the one that actually matters, okay? So literally you're going and clicking on the X and closing all the tabs on your computer. Okay? You're not deleting the tabs. You're just closing them for now. So your desktop is clear and you're able to pay attention and you're able to take a breath. Okay? Technique 3 is cut the input before the moment, not during it. Okay? This is the one people get backwards. Okay? You can't scroll for 20 minutes and then expect to flip a switch into presence. So less scrolling before the moment means less noise during the moment. So build a small buffer, even 5 minutes of no input, no screen, just quiet between whatever you're doing and the moment you're about to walk into your child's room. Okay, think of it as like a decompressor um, for their attention. Okay, clear the clutter first, and that's pillar 2. All right, now third step is sit quietly and reflect. A few honest minutes alone before anything else. This is probably what we all skip, and just to sit quietly and reflect. Okay, we usually skip this one because it doesn't look like we're doing anything. It's hard to just sit quiet for a few minutes. There's no checklist to point out to, no visible outcome. You're just there sitting. But here's the philosophy behind this, and I want you to really hear this. Stillness isn't separate from presence and clarity. It's the foundation underneath both of them. So you cannot consistently show up fully present with a clear mind if you never once stop moving long enough to hear yourself think. You know, when people tell us, or when you think, when you go to the bathroom, you have a shower, okay, and then you come out with this amazing ideas. It's like, oh, I came up with this idea when I was in the shower because that is when you're silent and you're still, you're standing under the shower. Okay? So stillness is the key. All right. Sit quietly and reflect 5 minutes. No phone, nothing to fix. Just ask yourself, was I really there today? This is at the end of the day and you want to check in to how your day was. Okay? 3 techniques. Technique 1, 5 minutes, no phone, nothing to fix, right? So before everyone wakes up in the morning, maybe this is after Fajr prayer or at night, whichever is realistic for you, sit somewhere. Not to plan the day, not to meditate perfectly, not to fix anything, just to sit. If your mind runs all over the place, just let it, as if like clouds are passing by. Let those thoughts pass by. It's okay if it's noisy at first. You're not failing at this. You're just making space for it to settle down. The way sediment settles down in water if you just stop stirring, right? If you're continuously stirring, it's all muddy and everything. But when you let the mud, all the sediments just settle down, the water at the top will start becoming clear. The one honest question, technique 2. At some point in that quiet time, just ask yourself, was I really there today? Just figuring out, was I fully present for them? Okay? You're not grading yourself, you're just checking in with reality instead of just running on autopilot. The awareness. That's step 1. Now, the last part is the breath count. If your mind is still stirring and it won't settle down, if even 5 minutes of silence feels impossible, and I know how that feels, give yourself one small anchor. Okay, count to 10 breaths, just in and out. When your mind wanders, and it will, just come back to the count. Okay, this isn't just about becoming like a meditation expert. It's just training the mind, training that exact muscle you'll need later. Okay, in the middle of a chaotic afternoon, when you need to come back to the moment in front of you instead of the noise in your head, you can come back to this breath. right? Okay, awesome. So now here's the thing I really want to talk to want you to walk away with because I think it changes how doable all this feels, right? These are not three separate habits you have to maintain in a parallel. They're just one motion. You sit quietly first, and that act, just sitting, starts emptying the mind. Okay, once the mind is actually empty, presence stops being this effortful thing you have to force. It becomes the only thing left to do, right? There's nothing left competing for space. So you don't need to master three things. You need to build one small entry point, and then the rest follows behind it like dominoes. Okay? All right. So I want you to start here this week. Anything you take, I hope just take one thing at least from this video. 5 quiet minutes a day before the day starts or after the day ends. No phones, just sit. Okay. Don't try to overhaul your whole day tomorrow. Don't try to do all three pillars perfectly starting at 6 a.m. Just pick the 5 minutes. That one thing done consistently makes the other two so much easier. Okay. Because you're not, really forcing yourself to be present. You're building them on top of the foundation that you've actually laid out. Okay. If you want a simple way to start, after the kids are asleep or they're still in bed in the morning, just practice this whole assignment. Okay. And if you feel like you would love some accountability with all of this, and you've lost that connection with your kids, and you want more peace and more calm, and you want to leave like a legacy for your kids, and you don't want to live in that stress and the chaos every single day, and you want someone to just be in your corner, I invite you to a free clarity call, and I work with the moms one on one to help guide them to a more peaceful, more calm, and joyful relationship with their kids. Okay? It's not a cookie cutter system, right? Every family is different, every child is different, and this approach might work for you. All right. Lastly, your kids won't remember what you said, but they remember how they felt. Okay? So here's what I keep coming back to: the specific words that you said, the reminders, the instructions, they're gone mostly. What they're going to remember is whether they felt seen, whether in the moments that mattered, you were actually there and not just standing nearby. So, of the three, being present, emptying your mind, sitting in stillness, which one do you personally feel that you need most right now? I would love to hear from you. Comment in it below, and I actually read those, and it helps me to know what to go deeper on. Okay, so next time we're talking about limiting your inputs because presence and clarity are hard to hold on to when you're constantly feeding your mind more than it can process. So, inshallah, I'll see you in the next one. Assalamu alaikum.